What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. Hold my beers are officially over, but we have a new episode to bring you guys today. It is called Beyond the Surface. It is mine and Dante, our replacement for Hold My Beer. We couldn't get rid of Dante. We can't get rid of you that easy. You got to stick around for the podcast. So we got Beyond the Surface is what we are calling this. We don't know exactly where we're going with it yet. We kind of got some plans, but we're going to it's just a less drinking episode per se. Same style, kind of, but maybe a little more serious.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'd say, you can probably hear it from the name. It's more or less like we talk about a lot of topics on this podcast, but I feel like when you get into a setting of talking into a microphone that's going to be released on a platform that anybody and everybody can listen to, you tend to maybe sometimes hold back.
Mm-hmm.
So what our goal is of this is to dive beyond the surface level topics. So actually become vulnerable in a sense. Obviously, we're not going to say anything that we're not comfortable with sharing with the world because that's kind of what you're doing.
There's some things that do still need to be right. We're not going to talk about our sex life, I promise.
Yeah, no, we won't do that. But it's just like there's not a lot of people out there that actually get deep into topics. So our main goal with this is just to really become vulnerable and talk about deep things, even if we disagree on something. Like it's just talking at the end of the day.
Yeah, we'll still have Q&As. We will still have roundtables once a quarter, so about 4 of those a year. I guess we haven't really talked about. We can talk about it on Hold My Beer. We did talk about it on Hold My Beer, with the whole Reno situation. Why Reno's no longer here as much per se. Probably not really much at all anymore, but it's fine. I get it. Everybody's life takes different paths, and he's doing what's best for him.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, it's not like he said he's done. He's just like, hey, boys, I just can't devote time to this right now. I'm happy to jump back into it in the future. But, it's just, it wouldn't be fair for us to be like, oh, that's bull. Like, dude.
Yeah, I'm not mad. When I was texting him back, I was trying to, how do I put this to make it seem like I'm not, because I'm not mad.
Dude,
I don't want him to think like I'm upset.
It's something we do for fun.
Yeah, it's not, and you're not making money off of me, so it's different if I'm paying you $100,000 a year. I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Shit, dude, I need to get employed by Roughnecks Podcast, 100K a year.
Well, shit, bud, it's not even an official business, but it will be soon. Actually, I'm
working on it.
Be turning it into an LLC. Okay. Mainly for tax purposes and that side of things.
You hear that, Uncle Sam?
Yeah. I have not made any money off the podcast yet, just FYI. But so Beyond the Surface, which we're talking about kind of something we may disagree on. I don't know how, we won't strongly disagree, I feel like, on this first topic, but I feel like we disagree a tiny bit on city versus country. And because I am way more of I want land and I don't want to see my neighbors, and you don't mind the city. I wouldn't say I don't feel like you pick one or the other. Like you've lived in both, you've done both because with your mom's house now and stuff, and I feel like you kind of you like that city life. I hate the city life. That's the difference.
Dude, I think for me, the age I'm at now, being 25, just wanting to be around things, wanting to be able to walk to a football game, be down in the action per se. Right now for me is fun. But what comes with city life is also crime. Like I mentioned, my car got broken into 3 days ago. So it's and I've seen things where people's tires get taken off their car around my house, shit like that.
Cadillac converters.
Yeah,
get cut off.
I don't live in a bad area. It's just what comes with the city is is just bullshit per se.
It's a populated area, so criminals. I don't even know how I feel about that term, but they can walk around and blend in because of the fact that there's so many people that it doesn't look suspicious as somebody walking down the sidewalk at 2 a.m.
Exactly.
Now, even here, sometimes you'll have somebody walking down the street at 2 a.m. You're like, what? If you have a dog, all right, I get it. You're walking your dog. But if you're just walking, you kind of get a little sketched out where you're like, what are you doing at 2:00 in the morning.
But in the country, like even like in my mom's house, it's like right down the street, but it's like more country than this is. Like if you see someone walking up your driveway at 2 a.m., you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, like you're starting to worry.
Yeah, I got a gun, pal. What are you doing here? You know, it's like, but yeah, I mean, I personally, I like city. My ideal situation, when I have enough capital to do this, I would love to have some sort of property downtown, whether that be like a condo, like a penthouse, like something a skyscraper to like be in the city, right?
Yeah.
And then also have like a retreat place, like a cabin or like
a cabin on the lake or something like that, just to get
away. A lake house would be ideal. I would love a lake house, dude. A lake house would be sick.
I could tolerate like a neighborhood lake house.
Yeah,
dude.
It's
like I'm on the fucking lake.
Yeah, dude, just give me a boat, like some beers, and let me go.
Fish whenever I want to.
Exactly. So that's the ideal situation. Now, if I had to pick one to stay permanently, I mean, right now, like I live in the city. I would say city, probably just with work and like having
things. You work in Columbus. I
mean, the office is like 4 minutes away from where I live currently. So yeah. But it just got to a point living out here, bro, where it was like I'd want to do something. I'd want to go downtown, go out to bars and stuff, and I'd have to drive 40 minutes. Yeah. It's like, first off, like not promoting drinking and driving at all, but like when you drive out there 40 minutes, then you have to find a place to stay. You have to worry about your car. You have to like all that. So it just becomes more of a hassle than like, if that's something you like to do and spend your time doing, then why not live in the city, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I get that. Like, so for me, like I don't know. I drive into Columbus and I start getting anxiety because of like
there's hella people, dude.
There's so many people. The people are freaking idiots when they drive. But I struggle with it. And I've grown up, where I grew up. So I kind of grew up, in the woods per se. Like, granted, my parents didn't have like a giant piece of property, but it was big enough to where like I could see my neighbors, like, but your neighbors aren't on top of you. The point that hit me the other day is me and Sierra were sitting on our front porch. Our neighbor beside us was on her back porch and we were having a conversation. And I was like, I didn't grow up this way. Like, this is weird.
I mean, you could walk out at your house, you walk out in your boxers, fucking.
Oh, dude. Like, my parents have a sign on the porch that says no peeing off the porch because me and my brother never used the bathroom. We always just went outside and peed off the porch. And it's like, it's just what we did. Right. And then when you grow up and you find a tree and you pee. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just kind of what you did. And it's. Now, granted, I still pee outside of my house. Now Sierra will be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm in the corner of the fence. They can't see me. But yeah, I grew up, I don't mind neighbors. I'm not saying I don't want neighbors. I'm just saying I don't want them to be in my business if they walk outside. Yeah. Because, I mean, my one neighbor, if she walks outside, she can see our whole backyard. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's just.
Not a lot of privacy.
That's the thing. I want some privacy to my life. And I don't need people watching everything I do.
And in that aspect, bro, and I definitely could see that, because like if I am, say, and this is gonna sound horrible, and I don't mean it to sound horrible, but when you sign your life away to a house, because like 30-year mortgage, like that's 30 years, bro, that's a long time,
Yep.
So when you sign for a house, like me personally, if I signed for a house, I would not want to be damn near attached to someone in Columbus. If I get a house, I want it somewhere where I can like go outside and I can do whatever the hell I want. Yeah. Like I can have friends over, we can be loud, like no one's gonna get pissed off, shit like that. Like
it's like last night I was out at a fire. We had one of those big ass fucking speakers, the big stand up ones,
like the
that
JBL
plug in.
Ones, yeah.
The big ass ones plugged in, and that thing was cranking, but like it was out beside my parents. So it's like we're up on the hill, way away from the road.
There's woods,
like no one says anything. You can turn the music up. I'm here at the house, like Friday when I was sitting out by the fire here, I had to turn the music down because I was like, fuck, it's like 10 o'clock. I need to turn it down. Like, I was like, I don't want to be I'm trying not to be rude.
Right. You're being a good neighbor.
Yeah. I'm like, I just kind of wish I could be like, because
as loud as you want.
I love, especially if I get a few beers in me, you start drinking, you're listening to some music by yourself, you get in that zone where you're like just having a good time. And it's like, I can't turn it up, and I like to fucking, sing songs, and I can't do it because I have to be quiet.
Yeah.
So I don't hate the area. Like, I don't hate where I live or anything. I want that space to be like kind of do what I want and not feel like my neighbors are watching me, because like all they have to do is look out their window and see.
Right.
So I don't know. It's weird.
It becomes a point where like the only privacy you really get is in your house, but like your house should be considered your property.
Even that, dude. Like when I get out of the shower and go to put clothes on, I like have to make sure I'm not by the window, because if somebody's walking their dogs, they can look up and see me in their freaking butt ass naked.
Or even here, like if you had music on in your house with the windows open, still everybody can hear. It gets. And I can see that. I think my ideal situation in that aspect, if I had to choose like one specific house, if I could say I only have one house, it would have to be in an area that is like close to the city, but far enough to where you can still get some land. So like
that's exactly
like a Pickerington. Well,
I could see that.
Old Pickerington, I guess.
Yeah,
like new, they're building shit hell out there now, but
that's essentially exactly. So me and Sierra, we've been kind of looking at houses, and we're not hardcore looking because prices are crazy.
The market's
still.
fucked, dude.
The freaking interest rates are still stupid, so we're just like, let's look. And because I heard something one time that stuck with me, you don't steal in slow motion. You come across a good deal, you have to take it. So that's why I'm telling. She's like, kind of like, why are you looking all the time if we can't afford anything? Because I was like, you never know when a good deal may pop up. There may be something that pops up where you're like, you can't let this one go. Like, well, you'll be looking 20 years down the line, man, going, man, I wish I'd have bought that property for $99,000. That was 20 acres and this and that. Instead, I bought it, and like all this stuff. So I look at it as like, I'm going to look. I'm not expecting anything to come across, but if something does, like, at least I'm looking and I'm able to see it. You can't see it if you're not looking.
Right.
So it's one of those that I'm looking. But that was the thing that we talked about, was we want to move out to the country, but we don't want to be 30 minutes from a freaking grocery store kind of thing too. Like we want to still be close enough to the city that we can get in, do what, your shopping and all that kind of stuff, but we want to have that privacy and that land, that space. And we've talked to, and I'm sure you're kind of somewhat similar, it sucks having to walk your dog.
Yeah.
And you want your dog, you be able to let your dog out. Like, luckily we have a fenced-in backyard, but still, ours isn't even big enough for our two dogs. Like, they get some energy out, but it's not enough for them to run, and just, you feel bad because you almost feel like you're cooping them up more than they should be. But
and that's why I try to take Pax out to my mom's a lot, just let him run, dude, because he doesn't get a lot of that in Columbus. But I think Buckeye Lake area is pretty.
Yeah, it's just getting too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, that's like at this point, it's getting to a point where if you don't have property there already, you're not getting anything around the lake, and then if you do get something around the lake, it's going to be in the millions, probably. So
I mean, we've done a lot of pools out at Buckeye Lake. Yeah, and it's like, you go into a couple of those neighborhoods, and every one of those houses is 500 plus.
Yeah.
Even when the market's not good. Like, when the market's not good, there's still 400. They're still expensive houses. They're not cheap.
But a lake house, dude, speaking of lake houses, it would be so nice. One of my buddies that I went to school with has a lake house, and their house was, like, one of the first houses on the lake. So, like, they have, like, pictures, or just, like, they told me stories of what the lake used to be like, and now there's, like, it's getting to the point where there's probably only 2 or 3 like plots of land realistically left for houses to be built around the lake. Like, that's how many, and it's a private lake too, but when you get more people there, then it has to become to a point where you got to have like boats on the water with officers and shit, and nobody wants that for a lake house either, bro.
You
it's
want to
like,
be able to just enjoy yourself.
Just do what you want, bro. That's what it should be, but people are dumb. And
my favorite lake houses are the ones in like little canals.
Yeah.
That are just off the lake. And
like you have your own little lake, kind of,
it's almost like its own neighborhood in the canal. Like you have that neighborhood, and then you have the lake.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like that because you don't have a bunch of boats. The water's not as choppy because it's like a little more calm, and you can actually like, because it sucks like when you go out to a lake and you're sitting there in the water, like Memorial Day, 4th of July out of Buckeye Lake, those places, like
torched.
That lake is just so freaking choppy that it's like, it's not even necessarily fun to be out on it because there's so many people, which I get it. It's a holiday. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I understand why it is that way, but I just like the lake. I like the calmness to
Buckeye Lake's also a public lake too.
That's true.
So I think I think it would be
'Cause,
nice
like,
to have a private lake where
Apple Valley is a private lake.
you
and
can't just.
You have to have a certain sticker to be able to put your boat in.
That's what I'm saying.
lake.
You can't just drop any random boat in there like for a day. Like, hey boys, let's go drink on the lake.
Yeah.
No, like you gotta either one know somebody that lives there and you have you're like, hey, I'm pulling my boat up to this stuff, or two, have a house or property around there where you can put your boat in the lake.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Country versus city. It's a very big debate too, but there's nothing wrong with either of them.
Mm-mm.
That's the thing. Is everybody's, some people were meant to live in New York City. Some people were meant to live in Montana.
Yeah.
Like,
Wyoming.
That's still, I don't want to call it my biggest regret, but one of the things I wish I did was, post college, I almost just left.
I mean, it's not like you still can't, though.
No, but
I mean, the longer you wait, the harder it gets.
Here's the problem, and it's an excuse that a lot of people use. Mine and Sierra's parents are getting older. And it's like, I know they'd probably look at us and be like, leave, go do it. But we're like, I don't know how I would feel about myself leaving and not being, leaving my 3 siblings and being like, you guys take care of mom and dad.
Dude, it's a difference where you can drive to see them or you have to fly to see them.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
But
because if you can drive, even if it's an hour, you can see them 10 times a year versus if you have to fly once or twice a year.
yeah.
So it's like, it's a weird, that's the big thing that holds me back from doing it.
I mean, I feel that, though, because, I mean, when I meet with people every day for work, like Zoom meetings, like, they always ask, like, hey, where are you from? Because they always see, like, my weather in my bottom corner when I'm sharing my screen on my computer. They're like, oh, you must be somewhere warm. It was, like, 87. And I was like, no, I'm actually in Ohio. They're like, oh, wow, didn't expect that. And I'm like, yeah, been here.
No one does.
Yeah, been here my whole life, but I want to spread my wings. And I say that, but, like, also I feel like there's a lot of things grounding me here, too. But I do truly want to, like, just get the fuck out, dude.
You think you could see yourself living in a different state?
See, and that's the issue. Like, I want to, but I don't know if I can actually see it happening. But
That's how I am. I'm the exact same way. It's so hard to just leave everybody that got you to the point that you're at.
Or just, like, how do you move? Like, dude, at this point, like, I could see moving, like, say I was still living with my mom and I just moved my stuff out there. But, like, now that I have my own place, how the hell do I just pick up a place and move it to another state? Like, you know how expensive that would be? Like, it's just... Like, I could definitely go to, like, the company I work for, their main headquarters is in Denver. I mean, I've had offers to go to Denver, like, live in Denver, but, one, Denver's expensive as shit.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not going to get what I get in Columbus in Denver. Yeah. There's no way. And then, two, it's just, like, it's so far from everyone, man. I'm not going to have any friends out there. All my friends are going to be work, and then, like, that's
you
weird.
You can't let that limit yourself.
No, yeah, true.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna act like you should do it, but even though I won't take my own advice. So, like, that's what I'm gonna say is, like, it's one of those things that it's so easy to tell somebody else, yes, you should go do it. Dude, take that opportunity because you're gonna maybe regret it later in life. But also at the same time, if someone asked you to do the same thing, you're like, I got this, I got that. Like, I get why we are grounded. Family, friends. But at the same
home, dude.
It is home.
You know?
And it's like you've seen movies and stuff of people going back home, and it's like...
And it's not like Ohio's bad.
Dude, like, have you been to Pataskala lately?
Not in a while, man.
It's different every time I'm there.
I bet, yeah.
Like, so, like, I remember driving through... We were going to Kroger, and I was just like, this doesn't even feel the same. And, like, I haven't been gone that long.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because it's like Pataskala's growing. And freaking here's growing, like all the stuff that I told you about in Heath, where they're essentially making a mini Easton eventually, and like all the construction that's going on, Intel, all this stuff that's going on, and it's like that's why me and Sierra are like we want to get out of this, but in order to get out of it, we have to kind of go past like Licking Valley even a little bit.
I mean, with Intel coming though, the house, the price of this house might skyrocket.
That's the only good thing. Not the only good thing. That's one of the good things about it is it is going to help because I was talking to, my buddy that's a realtor. I was talking to some other people, and some other people said the same thing this year. Sierra, where they were like, your guys' best bet's to wait a year or two and then move.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully prices come down a little bit depending on what happens with the election too, which that's a whole
I don't even want to fucking talk about that
that's a whole
shit,
nother
dude.
conversation.
I don't. Yeah.
Dude, I don't keep up on it, but the
I don't
stuff I've
either,
been seeing
but-
about the Trump trial just pisses me off. And I'm not even saying it just because it's Trump, because I'm like looking at it like I feel like he did do some things wrong. Like, don't get me wrong, he's not a perfect person. None of us are.
I mean, dude, half of fucking Washington isn't perfect people, dude.
Everyone-
That's what I'm
there is-
saying, bro. It's like
Oliver Anthony, the guy that sang Richmond, North of Richmond,
Mhm.
he has a part in one of his songs that says, I've never seen what does it say? I've never met a good city slicking bureaucrat. Like, and it's like they're all crooked. In
Well,
their
I mean,
own
the
way.
government in itself, and like we won't even have to dive deep into this because I'm not educated on really any
That's my thing, too.
government
Yeah.
workings. I'm not educated on what's happening. I'm like, and this might piss some people off, and I'm sorry, I'm not even registered to vote right now. I was registered when I was in college, have not re-registered when I moved down here.
Oh, shit,
like-
I need to check that.
I've never voted in a presidential election. I mean, again,
I'd recommend doing it.
it might piss some people off,
I'd
but like
recommend this election just vote.
I
don't
know,
care.
dude,
I'm
I-
not even telling you who to vote for
Dude,
or whatever.
that's the issue though.
You don't
is-
know who to vote
Exactly. I'm not educated enough, and I feel like me just fucking voting for someone is like what everybody did when Biden won. It's like,
for. You know what I think happened with
You
Biden?
know?
People say the election was rigged, and I
Which-
won't even go into that.
yeah.
I won't even go into that. What I will say is I think more people voted against Trump than for Biden.
that's what I'm saying, bro. And it shouldn't
That's the
be like
problem.
that. It
That's
should.
the problem.
You should, and I don't know. For me to vote, for me to feel like I'm actually doing something and doing my job as a U.S. citizen, I should be educated about what's going on. What do each of them think? What is my vision for the country, I guess, and what do I think would help everybody? But I don't care enough to actually dive deep into it. I have my own shit to think about.
I'll tell you straight up, when I vote, if I don't know, I will not. I'll skip it.
Oh, you can skip when you vote?
Yeah, you don't have to
Oh, I
actually
didn't know
vote on
that.
everything.
I thought
Like,
you had
there's
to.
there's been school levy taxes or
Mhm.
stuff like that where I'm like, I don't know if yes means good or bad.
Right.
Like, I don't know what everything means, so I'm like, I'm not just gonna vote on this.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna do it. So yeah, you can skip it and not vote on everything, but I think it. Sierra's never voted either, and I'm like, just go vote. Like, I don't care what you vote for or anything. I was like, that is one of our rights that we have fought for in this country that I think is very important, to be able to vote and have you do have a say, per se.
I think it should be a requirement for them to actually spill the fucking beans sometimes instead of lie too, though. I feel like you shouldn't be able to lie in like campaigns,
Yeah.
because I feel like there's a lot of shit that's like false promised and
Yeah.
people vote for them and then it's the complete polar
Well,
opposite.
I feel like some of that, though, that's where it gets misconceived with the government. and
Well,
what
true,
people
because the
get-
government can absolutely
Well, it's not always.
Stop
The
it.
president may be like, this is
what I want
what
to do.
I want to do,
Yeah.
but then the Congress shuts it down.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
like a
where
power
some people,
trip.
yeah, but that's a good thing in our country. That's
Yeah.
one of the very good things about our country is being able to. It's not you put a dictator and that
Mhm.
controls everything.
Right.
And I think there's times where it's similar to a dictatorship. Honestly, I think there's times in this country where it's like it is kind of controlled by one person kind of thing. Now, is it super big topics? Maybe not, but there's little things that you're like, they have control over everything, and whatever somebody else says, it doesn't matter. That's essentially what a dictatorship is. That is what it is. But I don't know. Yeah, the whole politics things. And I used to look back at what made me kind of start paying attention a little bit. My mom, anytime an election was coming up, she'd go sit on the computer for hours. She'd look up both the people that were, being running, Republican, Democrat, she didn't care, but she looked up what their plans were, and she would spend hours researching everybody before she went and voted. And I was like, that started getting to me, and then I started doing it a little bit. Like before the day, I don't spend as much time, but the day before, I'd look up the candidates and be like, all right, what are they pushing for? Like,
Mhm.
what's their plans? And like, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I care what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I care. That's where I think people get so lost nowadays in Republican versus Democrat.
Yeah,
and it's
for
like,
sure.
I don't give a shit what you are. I care about what your values are, what your beliefs are. And we can disagree. That's fine. I don't care. I'm going to believe one thing. You're going to believe a different. No problem there. Just don't make it a big deal.
Right.
Like, that's the beautiful thing about this country.
Well, a lot of
We're
people,
allowed
when
to
you
disagree.
when you disagree, it's like, oh no, you have to think my way. It's like, dude, that's fucked up.
That's
like,
why
why gotta think my
sometimes
own way?
it's embarrassing anymore. You can't call yourself a Trump supporter now.
No,
can't
because
call
then you're
yourself a
labeled.
Biden
You're labeled
supporter.
everything and above. You know.
You can't call yourself like whatever candidate it is. You can't call yourself a supporter of them because they automatically class it. Like, do I agree with everything Trump says? Absolutely not. Do I agree with some things that Biden says? Yeah, I do. I agree with some of the things. Like, I'm not saying I'm one way or the other. It's pretty obvious which way I am, but at the same time, I agree with both sides on things. So that's where I think people get so lost in this politics game anymore that it's like, shut the fuck up and just believe or do the research and think about what
you got to think about it too. Some of it's nonsense, man. Some of it's like shit that like they want you to believe that's not even like related to the party or the candidate either.
Like,
you know,
it's like Trump saying that if he gets elected, he's going to release the Epstein file or make the Epstein files public. JFK and 9/11. He was going to make all those public.
It's like, dude, you got a lot of steps to jump through
and
before that
I'm
happens.
like, you don't have the full say in that. Like, you can't just do that. And you're just saying that's just a ploy to like vote for me.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's one of the things. Like when he says things, and I'm like every candidate, and I'm like, that's not exactly how it works. Just because you get in the office doesn't mean you have control.
Exactly.
Over that.
There's a lot of steps to have to go through.
But don't get me wrong. I'd love to see all three of those. But
Yeah. It's just. With that shit, man, all the conspiracy theories or maybe they're truths now. It's like, what good does it actually do for the masses to see it, though? Besides cause more panic and more disruption or more separation between two parties.
Well, the thing with the 9/11 and JFK, he wouldn't be willing to say he'd release them. He's seen them.
True.
If you're in that power, you've seen them. You know what they are. He wouldn't be willing to release them if it was really bad.
But I feel like Trump doesn't give a fuck, dude. Trump is
Yeah.
very for the people. Don't get me wrong. He's for the people, and I feel like in that instance, he probably wouldn't care if they're good or bad. He just wants people to see him.
Because it's not his name that's tied to
Yeah,
it.
he wasn't. He was still an entrepreneur at that point in time. He's still up and coming.
He wasn't even a politician.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you got a point.
You know, and I feel like if something like, and again, I'm not saying the government's like fucking always right, but there's a lot of things that, dude, if the general public saw a lot of things that went down or knew the truth about a lot of things that went down, there'd be complete uproar, purge, fucking complete disruption of day-to-day life, bro.
Yeah, there would. There has to be an order to the chaos.
Like no group of people, all right, just think about this. If we're thinking about the United States as a company, no company is successful without someone calling the shots, right? Every company has a CEO, but that CEO also has a board of executives that kind of, hey, maybe this isn't the best idea, CEO. Maybe we should do this, or no, we don't agree with you on that. Balances out the direct person in power. But if there was none of that executive level, then the organization's just doing whatever the hell they want.
It's a dictatorship.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I've never thought about it like that, but you're right. The democracy is a freaking company.
Yeah, pretty much. You got a CEO, you got a COO, you got your board of trustees or board of execs
that can vote your ass out.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That's a really good way to look at it. That's good. I like that. Wow. Just opened my eyes a little bit.
I mean, dude, it's just like everyone's like, oh, we're free. We can do whatever we want. I mean, yeah, you can, dude. But if there was no order or no, like, structure to any type of leadership, then what the hell are we doing?
What really is freedom?
I don't know. I feel like my definition of freedom would be Well, I mean, it can't be, I can't be told what to do. We literally all got told what to do when we were wearing masks. What everyone do? Wore a fucking mask.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean,
that's what's...
and it was a safety thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking shit on it.
Yeah,
But
I agree. But it's like freedom, but there's laws of things you can and can't do. So how free are we really? I mean, don't get me wrong. I agree with the laws. Like, I don't think you should be able to freely go around and kill whoever the hell you want. Like, there's definitely laws for a reason.
Rock, paper, scissors first, at least. Shit.
But it's, yeah, I don't know. Like, I've looked at how free are we really?
I mean,
I thought about that.
Yeah, and dude, I like, not bringing it back to video games or anything, man, but I play Xbox with people from all over. I have a lot of Australian friends. I have a lot of people that live in New Zealand, UK, like.
What's it like for them? Like
exactly, and I ask them that, and like New Zealand, fucking roses and flowers supposedly. Like, not a lot of bullshit that goes on in New Zealand. Very happy, everybody.
Not allowed to own guns there, I don't think, though.
Yeah, but
so like I think that's part of the reason why it's the way it is.
I mean, and everybody from outside looking in, the United States is a shit show. Everybody has a gun. Everybody's killing people. That's literally like...
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. I mean, shit, dude.
Part of that's the media.
Yeah, that too.
You turn on the news and somebody got shot.
Yeah.
Every day. That's all you see. Somebody got shot. Your local news, somebody got shot.
Dude, and it's something that I like researched a little bit in school. It's called the mean world syndrome. Yeah. So like... when you turn on the news every day, all you see is the bad, the bad, the bad. Yeah, you might see, the new elephant at the zoo had a baby. Like, yeah, okay, go right. Fuck, that really helps me every day, pal. But like, news-wise, you see, someone died, car crash here, someone died, shooting, school shooting, so on and so forth. And if you're only consuming that, then it starts to make you think that, oh my God, this world's not safe. I can't go outside. It's the mean world syndrome. Like.
And I think that's why a lot of people, and it may be similar for me, that's why a lot of people don't like the city.
Yeah, exactly.
Because crime increases in the city compared to the country.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that there's more people, and they show it every goddamn day on the news.
Yeah. And then they'll put the murder rates up against, like, last year's, like, oh, we're already beating this number here, but, like, hey, is there anything going into this? Oh, we were in a pandemic here, people weren't outside. Like, they don't give you the context of any statistic. They give you the statistic, and then it's like, oh, you should think this because this is bad, you know?
But that's why it's also cool to watch true crime.
Yeah.
Because that true crime shows and stuff, and it's like, because I know you're big on the true crime.
True crime kind of does it too, though, bro. Thinking about, like, listening to the stories, like, fuck, dude, I could be walking down my street drunk one day and get kidnapped and then never found,
You'll be watching the true crime, and you'll hear a noise outside, and you're like, what the hell is that? Yeah. Somebody's coming to murder me.
Right, bro. It's just, it's sad to think about, man. There's just... But
in reality, we have such a good life, and it's so good all the time.
Yeah.
Like, do we get in some sketchy situations? Maybe. But, like, really, 99% of the time, it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
But the news makes it seem like 99% of the time it's all bad.
All bad, yeah.
But I get it. That's what makes the stories. No one is going to watch
No one's going to watch bullshit.
If it's all happy bullshit all the time.
Or, like... say no one's gonna watch the news where, let's say, a situation, someone gets shot, right? They get shot in the leg, like grazed, right? No one's gonna watch a story. It's like, John Smith over here, he got grazed by a bullet. He's completely fine. It was a stray bullet. He's completely fine. No one's gonna be entertained. But if they say, like, normal pedestrian walking in park gets hit by bullet.
Oh, dude,
you know?
How many news stories do you click on that are like the title of it is like, what the hell happened?
Critical condition. Like,
you click it and you're like, this is such a bullshit story.
Exactly.
Like, I really don't even care about this now.
And it goes back to news channels are aligned with specific parties that are low-key ultimately fighting against each other news-wise because they want more viewership, and they also have political agendas that they're pushing all in all.
And the only thing, in my opinion, that news people care about, numbers.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's a business. That's how they make money, bro.
That's all they care about.
That's how they make money. And then they have campaigns that donate towards the news station to, like, hey, push this agenda a little bit.
I don't think that should be legal.
No.
I don't think that should be, that should happen.
It is what it is, I guess, you know?
I mean, I get paying, for ad endorsements and whatever, but, like, I don't feel like Like, because here's the problem. We have CNN, we have Fox News that are two different sides. If you are one side party, you watch one. If you're the other, you watch the other. Like, it's like, that's so crazy that we have news channels. I feel like they should all be, split.
Or they should have like an NFL red zone for news, bro. Where it's like all the different news channels. You can see all the different. They all have to report the same stories, but you can see if you just look at how each one talks about them, you'll see the difference. It's right in front of you, dude.
Yeah,
it's just like
you took a similar class to me. I took a media and the effects on society class in college, and like that opened my eyes to things of like it's the same story, but how they portray
how they spin it.
Is everyone's different, and I get it, but I don't think it's right.
And the biggest thing is people don't retain facts. You won't really retain statistics. You'll retain a story though, and that's why building stories is so important. Even in like I'm in sales now, bro. So when I'm demoing my product to people, I like to make it a story. And make it hit home for them. It's a story. Like
connect it to the person.
Yes. How will this make your life easier? How will this make you more money? How will this save you time?
Yeah.
It's a story. If I'm just sitting there like, hey, we have X amount of people using it. Most of them save this amount of time. It's not gonna retain anything. You have to relate it to them and then make it a story. And that's kind of what the news does. It's like, hey, what if your kid got kidnapped? What would you like? Shit like that. And it makes you think that the world's horrible.
I'd like to have. So I had a news anchor on way back at the beginning of the podcast, Matt Barnes. He works for NBC4, which is one of the local networks here. And I'd like to have him back on and like ask him some questions about some of that stuff. Be like, is there ever a story that you don't want to report but you have to in a certain, like they're reading from a teleprompter. They all are. Is there ever something that you're like, because it makes them almost, I feel like, aligned with whatever the news station is aligned with, whether they are or not. Like, I don't care, but like whether they are or not, it could maybe align you with something that you don't necessarily agree with. Like, how often do you get to go off script and be like, I don't agree with this?
Never. Or you're getting fired probably.
Exactly. You have to read from the script. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to bring him. Maybe I'll reach back out and have him come back on.
I mean, it's
just
similar.
do it beyond the surface with him.
Yeah. I mean, it's similar to what, like, think about all the history books or the textbooks that we read in high school, right? The
outdated ones.
Yeah, but the government pays schools to be successful, right? They give money to the schools. The government ultimately pays what you're teaching everybody. Teachers don't, like, as much as like you think that each teacher's unique, like, yes, they can portray.
They have their own style.
That's style. It. They can do whatever they want with their style, how they teach it to you, but they have a lesson plan of exactly what they need to teach you and when the entire school year.
Because they have the state testing.
Exactly.
Like, and that's what's crazy is the state testing isn't a grade on the student. It's a grade on the teachers.
Yeah. And they stress us the fuck out
because
about
they're
them,
stressed the fuck out because they could lose their job.
Yeah.
Both my sisters are teachers, and so like they talk about state testing is the worst time of year for them because they have to make sure their students are prepared because it's a grade on them, which I think is bullshit. You're making kids stress out about a fucking test that doesn't even matter to them, which, well, I guess some of them do.
It was
matter.
like, what, the OATs and shit?
OATs.
Yeah, bro.
It didn't matter what we scored on them.
That's crazy.
It doesn't. The SATs and ACTs, those matter for our college. Those are on us for college.
Yeah.
The OATs, those are for freaking the teacher, the grade on the teachers.
And then they'd send you home that big-ass packet and see if you're, like, proficient or whatever. It's like had a little bar. Dude, that's crazy. I used to get so stressed out about those, too.
I would, too. I remember we had to write, like, a 5-paragraph story. And then, like, that's also, like, all right, how many sentences is a paragraph and, like, all this. And I'm, like,
3 to 5,
writing
baby.
this fucking bullshit story that I'm like, this is terrible. And it, like, you're proficient. And I'm like, how the fuck am I proficient? That was a terrible story. But it's like, you could write about anything. And it was just, I don't know. Dude, and my thing with the government paying schools and everything, I don't like the fact that some schools get more than others. In my opinion, it should be on a population basis.
Yeah.
You have more kids, you get more money.
It's mostly based on area at this point.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And you want these schools aren't excelling, it's a bad school. Yeah, it'll never excel because they can never get money.
Mm-hmm.
They can never do what they want to do.
They can't pay their teachers a lot, so the teachers stop giving
Teachers
their
don't
shit.
get paid shit.
I know they don't, unless you're at like a private school that has a bunch of funding. But even then, you have to like even upgrade your level to where like most private school, like high school teachers probably have a doctorate.
Yeah.
It's like they literally could teach college, but they're at high school because this private school is paying them a lot of money.
And you probably noticed the difference too, going from like high school to college. The difference in like teachers and like our professors in college, it was like, holy shit. Like, I feel like they're way smarter, first off. But it's also because, you know what? Most teachers can't afford to go get their doctorate because they're not getting paid shit.
Exactly.
Like, my sister has her master's, but she can't afford to go get more.
Right.
And like the schools, and she only got her master's because the school paid for it.
And in college, I know at Worcester at least, like, you know how the like independent study I had to complete to graduate or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the professors at Worcester have to do one of those every 2 years. Yeah. So like research a topic, write a like a study on it, publish the study.
Yeah,
like
they have to have a published paper or whatever they call it.
And it's like, I love that. I mean, I'm personally, I'm glad I went to Worcester just because of the connections I made with my professors. If I would have went to like Ohio State with a room of 150 people, I wouldn't.
Or they didn't even know if you were there.
Exactly. But like at Worcester, I'm assuming it's the same at OU, where it's like you actually know them. Like you could, I wouldn't say call them late at night, but you could go into their office hours and be like, hey, I'm really struggling right now. Like I really need help. Can I get an extension on this paper? And they would work with you.
Yeah.
But at a big school, they're probably going to say, like, hey, get fucked, buddy. I mean,
like
what do you want me to do? Yeah.
There's 149 other kids that aren't struggling, apparently.
Exactly. Like, hey, I've already had 25 people exactly like you asking me for an extension. I'm not doing it. So, figure it out. Like,
yeah, like, I mean, it was so – that's one of the things I think that brought us to that smaller school vibe was the fact that, the classroom sizes are smaller. It did still feel like high school sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you're in a classroom with 20
and with
kids.
drama and shit.
Oh
shit spreading around campus. Like, fuck, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah, some of it you're like, all right, we're not in high school anymore, guys.
Right.
Like, let's go. But with the classes size of things, it was awesome because of the fact that, we'd be sitting in class and or we'd be that night studying for something and like all three of us are struggling with one thing. And it's like, screw it, let's email the professor. And guess what? We get a response. I don't know if you had it, but I had multiple professors. They put their phone number up on the screen the first day. And we're like, if you guys have questions, I don't care what time it is, text me. I may not respond right away, and I may not respond till the next morning, but you guys can text me. And it was like, you don't get that at Ohio State.
Hell no.
You'll never get that at those big schools where the professors are like, here's my number.
Yeah,
text me.
I definitely didn't have many of my professors' numbers.
There was
or
only
maybe
a handful.
And it's possible they did put their number on there. I guess probably I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I would just honestly probably email or something, but...
And you can always find the email easy.
Exactly,
so,
yeah.
That was the easiest thing to do.
But it's just... Man... I don't know. It's crazy how things worked out with, like, colleges but building off of, like, the government paying high school, like the government still supplies universities as well. Even, like, private universities, maybe not so much.
Not as much.
Because it's more donor-based, like, stuff like that, but...
That's why it's so damn expensive.
Yeah, and that's why private universities can low-key, like, have specific courses that are, like, I wouldn't say anti-government, but it's, like, pushing things that maybe aren't so in line with what's going on right now. But it's still the fact of the only way for educational centers to survive is by funding, and funding mostly comes from the government.
Yeah. And, yeah, I get a fucking letter every year from Ohio Wesleyan.
Me too.
Donation.
I'm like, dude, you want to pay off my loans and then I'll fucking donate.
Listen, if I make enough money to pay off my loans, maybe I'll start donating. But right now, I'm still paying you, motherfuckers.
Exactly. Like, dude, take the money I'm paying you and give it to the freaking people. How about that?
Yeah, that's another thing, man. Like, so I kind of want to talk about it. Is college worth it?
So I guess, I mean, what, in your definition of, like, worth it, what does worth it mean?
That's kind of where I wanted to go with it, because it's like yes and no is my opinion.
Me too, because, like, are we talking worth it ROI, like return on investment? Because in that sense, like, probably fucking not, unless you're being, like, a doctor or a lawyer, like something along the lines where you have to go to school. But return on investment, I mean, I don't think I would need a college degree to be in the position I'm at right now.
Same.
But networking wise and growing up wise, I think it was worth it. It was like spreading your wings in a safe environment in a sense.
Yeah, that was my thing is like money wise. No, I don't. I'm not even going to debate it. No, it's not worth. I wish I'd have done it differently. But if I'd have done it differently, I probably wouldn't have been living on campus, living on my own, connecting with people, learning how to be social, learning how to talk to people, and that kind of stuff. So, like, that's where it's tough because it's like, I think college is worth it in the reasons that they don't tell you college is worth it.
Yeah, because you're not going to sell someone off, hey, come make new friends.
Everyone always says you need college to get a job.
And I don't think it's true. Not anymore, for sure.
No, yeah. It's starting to go the opposite way.
But, like, I've met some of my best friends in this entire world in college, man. Like, I've met some of the most important people in my life that I've actually, like... And, like, high school friends are fantastic. Like, you and I are still really good friends. Like, wouldn't trade that for the world.
You end up with, like, 4 or 5 high school friends max.
Yeah, and, like, the college friends, you meet them in such an important growing period of your life to where they can help you get through bullshit too on your own because you don't have
each other get through bullshit.
Exactly. You don't have the backbone per se of hometown friends, family, everything behind you anymore. You're in a new place in a group of people that you all live together, so you have to figure out shit on your own and with friends.
You don't know each other's flaws in the past. You don't know each other as well as if me and you would have lived together in college, which probably would have been great, but also like we know each other. So like there may have been issues there of like, oh no, fuck you, like on this, or like, you know what I mean? Like you have those things, but in college, it's a clean slate. You don't know each other. You're figuring each other out. And, that's good and bad because there's definitely things I can tell you about my roommate where I'm like, fuck this guy. But like at the grand scheme of things, luckily I lived with him 3 out of 4 years. At the end, I'm like, that thing that used to bother me freshman year, like that was just like a one-time thing that bothered me. That wasn't like a long existing thing. So like you go through like all those spells with people and it's such a clean slate that's the cool thing about it.
I think college teaches you how to exist with people without knowing a lot about them either.
Yes.
You never really get beyond the surface,
especially
with a lot of people.
Freaking sports.
Yeah.
Because you deal with so many people in the football world. Like, I mean, there's 100 of us, give or take. There's so many of us that you may not know everyone perfect, but you learn how to be with everybody. Like you'll see them at the bar and you're like, hey man, what's like, it's like your best friend, but you don't know shit about them other than the fact that we play football together.
I think college would have been a lot different for me if I didn't play a sport. If I didn't play a sport, I don't think I would have went to Worcester first off.
I wouldn't have made it through college if I didn't play a sport.
Sports in college really give you a group to support you through the early stages of feeling homesick, feeling alone. Like, dude, you have a family right here. Like, you just gotta.
It's your family away from home.
Yeah, because I remember, dude, it was and it's crazy to think about, bro. It was my first camp, at Worcester, and I started to feel homesick. And then we had this guy. He was a senior my freshman year. His name was Pat. And he's doing fantastic now. He played offensive line, and we were walking to our night meeting. We had like night meetings before walkthrough during camp, and I just looked at him like, "Hey man, like, how do you get rid of feeling homesick?" And he just looked at me. He was like, "Dude, I know exactly what you're going through." And he was further away than I was. Like he was States type deal, and I'm an hour and 45-minute drive home, but he was just like, I know what you're going through. It hurts a lot, but like you just have to be here, be around the people, and I promise you it'll feel better. And like, of course, like that following year when camp came around, no, I'm not excited for camp, but I'm excited to see all my guys. Yeah. I'm excited to be with the boys again, but it's just, I think it's very good for, like you said, social skills, learning real world shit and how to deal with real real world shit with adults instead of like.
But it steps up a notch when you live on your own.
Yeah,
after that.
yeah, for sure.
I think the financial aspect is when the thing you don't learn as much about in college.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, I learned how to survive off fucking $20 for a week, but now you're
you're getting meals.
$20. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, you're getting meals provided for you. Like you have all of that shit there. You're not worrying about like the living part of it. You're worrying about the social or existing part of it.
Yeah.
Now, again, return on investment. Like I would rather not be in debt right now, but I wouldn't trade. I still would not trade it for the world.
That's the thing. Like, do I wish I did it differently? Yes. Do I regret it? No. Like that's a weird thing to say because it's like kind of contradicts each other. Because it's like I'm in debt out my ass, and it is gonna continue to haunt me. Hopefully, only for 7 more years. We won't talk about that today, probably, but it's one of those things that the money side of things, but also I've learned as I've got later in life, quit stressing so much about money. I have a roof over my head. I eat every day. I have everything I need. I don't have the extra shit maybe, but I have everything I need. And that's what's important. You have I don't struggle. I don't have to worry about what the hell am I going to eat tonight because I can't afford dinner. So like I'm in a good enough place that it's like, all right, like stop stressing so much about money. And that's one of the things like in college, like fuck man, I don't know if you're the same way. I was like, yeah, it's a loan, I'll pay it off later. Like, when you're doing the loans for the next year, you're like, yeah, fuck it. Like you don't think about how much it is.
I didn't because I wasn't going to be able to stay in school unless I signed that paper. So like I was between a rock and a hard place. It was either, hey, get yourself further in debt or don't go to school here anymore. So I was like, I want to go to school here. I'm 2 years in already. Okay, I'll just sign this shit.
One of the things that I'm so glad, because like we both went through it where it's like, I kind of feel like I'm ready to walk away and be done with it. I'm so glad I didn't. And at least I got that expensive piece of paper. Yeah. I went through it. I did it all. I have the piece of paper that says, you graduated. You have this degree. You know about this stuff.
Now, will I ever hang it up? Probably fucking not.
I don't know where mine's at.
I don't even, I was about to say, I don't know where my shit is either.
It was on the shelf when I moved out I had it on the shelf when I moved out of my parents, and I didn't take it with me. And they brought some stuff over. So it's either here or at my parents'. I have no idea where the fuck it's at.
I don't, Again, don't.
Same with my high school diploma. I don't know where the fuck that thing's at either.
I definitely don't know where the fuck that is, dude.
I had them both on the shelf. I don't know where the fuck
I have no idea. Yeah. But it just shows you how, it's just all for a piece of paper. But I think you got to.
But it's not all for a piece of paper. We always say that, but it's not. Because we just talked about it.
Yeah.
Social.
You're right.
Everything, because I wouldn't have this podcast if I never went to college. Guaranteed. There ain't no fucking way my ass would have started a podcast if I never went to college.
Right.
I learned about podcasts in college. I didn't really know we all kind of knew what they were, but we had to make a podcast for class. And then I was kind of looking into it. And then I started listening to podcasts. And then all of a sudden I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. And that's how it started. So it's not all for an expensive piece of paper. That's just what we get at the end. So that's what we associate with. Yeah. That's the reward.
And I guess if we're circling this back to this was on a different episode, but the success, right? The milestones.
On the episode that comes out after this one, yeah.
Oh, after?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Give a little teaser.
Yeah. Just success-wise, a lot of people just think about the end result, but if you got to think about the little things that led up to that end result, and that's kind of what college is all the fun times, man. I literally, I don't regret it at all. It's more or less just I'd rather not be X amount of money in debt, but at the end of the day,
the debt conversation we can have another time, but that you can get out of debt easier than people think.
Yeah.
When you actually sit down and look at it. That's the problem with us, anybody really. We all have our payments we have to make.
I just pay them, yeah.
Yeah, you just pay the payments. But do you pay attention to what interest is being drawn on it?
I do, and it's just bullshit, let me tell you.
Okay, fair enough. I don't even look at the interest, dude. I'm whatever the payment is, pay. done. Like, I try not to look at my loans because it's depressing.
I feel like it doesn't go down, dude.
No,
It's
dude.
because the interest.
So I
bro.
started a spreadsheet a year and a half ago, and I looked and I had like the total. I only had one line like that first time when I started it, and I never actually went in and kept putting things in. And then because I was curious, like how much am I fucking paying in interest and all this shit, which I probably could find out easier. But I'm a spreadsheet guy, and I fucking looked at it the other day when I was doing the debt calculating and everything, and I was like, fuck, this ain't gone down worth a shit. I've been paying on this for fucking years now at this point. Now I feel like it's not even moved. It's so depressing to look at when you have a X amount of loan and it's like, fuck, it never moves.
Yeah. That's similar to like my car payment, dude. It's just like, what the hell? I'm putting miles on my car, looking at how much I owe on it still. I'm just like, dude.
You put more miles on it than you could fucking pay on it.
Yeah, and like by the time I want to like trade it in or something, it's not gonna be worth what I owe on it. So
No.
just digging fucking deeper
Every day
in the
you
grave.
own that thing, it depreciates.
It's crazy,
Every
dude.
single day it depreciates.
I had to drive it into a lake.
We had a customer recently. He used to like run car dealerships, a few of them, and he was like talking about pictures of jobs and stuff. And he's like, telling my boss, he's like, you're terrible at it. Like, you don't take enough pictures. And I was like, I'm gonna be going out like one weekend. I already told him, I was like, I'm gonna go out a weekend and like just take pictures of all of our past jobs, like some of the really good ones, and just then you can website promos, whatever you want to use them for. But I was like, I just want pictures of them now because they look good and the grass is in and everything. And he was like, I always told people, we ended up hiring our own photographer and everything because I always told people every day that car sits, it depreciates. And he was like, if somebody's scrolling if you're looking on a car dealership and they don't have a picture of that car, I'm scrolling past it. I ain't fucking looking at it. You don't have a price on that car? I ain't looking at it.
Right.
I don't care. Like, I don't know what it is. I have no idea about anything. Like, why am I going to look at that? I'm going to look for the one that's what I want. Like, I like the look of that car. I like that price. Boom. And he's like, we wanted the efficiency. Like, within 2 days of us getting that car, it better have pictures uploaded. We better have a price. We better have everything done for this. Because otherwise, it's just going to lose money the longer it sits here. And then, I mean, you'll see cars on dealer, like, lots and everything. It goes down in price. It's because it's been sitting there for so long. Mm-hmm. So they're like, we got to get rid of this thing. Like, we got to get something else in.
Yep.
That replaces it. So we got to get rid of this thing. So, yeah, I don't know. It's the money world, the college world. It's all a fucking...
Yeah. I mean,
is college a scam?
I could see where that statement could be true in a sense to where it kind of just puts you in a hole that you can't really dig yourself out of.
Well, and I want to kind of cover my tracks here. College, for some people, is necessary.
Yeah. I mean, shit, dude. I don't want to go to a doctor who never went to college. I want them to, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want like my dentist working on my teeth that's never learned about teeth,
like,
you know?
Yeah, he studied on his own.
Right.
Like, I don't know how, because I know how I studied. If I studied on my own, it wasn't good.
Exactly.
Like,
so it's
I know
like,
a little bit.
There's some professions that I think definitely it's 110% necessary, but there's others that, like, for a long time, man, and I think it was really with our generation, maybe and the generations before us, like college, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to. Mm-hmm. And then now it's getting to a point where, hey, you don't have to go to college. We have all these trade
and the thing
jobs,
with you
trade
too,
school.
Oh, trades are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, because not enough people are doing them.
They looked at there's a statistic out there, I can't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head, but they looked at like the average age of trades. And it's like 60.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck. When you think about that, people are going to retire. People are going to die. If that average age doesn't come down, we're in
trouble.
Trades are what builds the country.
Yeah.
Like, you want a building built, you need trades. You need a plumber.
You need electric in that house. Yeah.
Yeah, like you need all of this stuff. And that's why I'm actually proud to be a blue collar guy. Now, granted, I put in luxury type stuff for people. I don't do necessities per se. But trades are it's starting to scare me. And like Sierra, we had talked one day, and she was like, when we were going through the debt stuff, and she's like, this sounds bad, but do we even make it an option for our kids to go to a school like we did? Because she went to Otterbein, I went to Ohio Wesleyan. We both spent a good amount of money on college. And I was like, it's hard to say no because of how much like we both got out of it.
Mm-hmm.
We both got a lot out of going where we went. And like I told her, I was like, if you didn't go to Otterbein and I didn't go to Ohio Wesleyan, there's no saying where we may not even be together.
Mm-hmm.
Like things work out for a reason. But I'm like, if our kids want to do that, we are going to be hopefully in a position, especially to inform them of like, hey, like hopefully our debt's paid off, and like to explain to them about like debt, like because that's something I don't think either of us had.
No.
Like we weren't like my parents may have said it like you're gonna be in debt, like you're gonna spend a lot, but also like
You're not old enough to actually think about it though.
no. And I want to go at like I'm gonna be like it's gonna be a weird conversation because it's gonna be like they're not gonna listen to us, but we're gonna bring it up multiple times of like, hey, I'm not opposed to you going to this school. I'm not telling you can't. I'm just telling you here's what's gonna happen. And it's something that I went through. Like, I want you to think about it. I'm not telling you no. I'm telling you think about it.
Right. And, like, I think nowadays, too, there's just so many different ways to actually make a living, man. Like, streaming. For example, like Tanel, that's what he's, like, he's still working part-time, but he's a full-time streamer. Like, making, like...
Good for him.
Yeah, and then, like, him and I had talked about it prior to him like actually like taking that leap of like he was like, man, I don't know, like my mom was like on his ass about no, you're working a job, shit like that, and I was like straight up with her. I was like, one, he's still living at home, so like right now is the best time for him to try that. It's
I don't even want to call it a side hobby kind of thing,
right?
But like he's still working a job and making extra money on top of it.
So like why wouldn't you allow him to build his own personal little brand, what he loves to do? Because like I watch his streams, man. He loves that, like loves it. That's what he wants to do. So why not give him the chance to do it? Because if he doesn't try it now and he becomes 35 and looks back on it, he's going to be pissed at the world every single day that he did not try it. Yeah. So why not try it, you know?
We need to bring Tanel on to be on the surface.
Yeah, no, he would, bro.
We'll do it. Fuck yeah. Next recording session, we'll have a lot of people in and out at that one, but because Sierra's going to be here for one.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll have but
yeah, no, he'd do it. He'd talk about streaming and stuff. He's doing pretty well. He's growing pretty well. But it's just a grind for, like, me personally, I don't know if I could do it because, like, it takes a special person, bro. You have to wake up every day no matter how shitty you're feeling. You have to entertain people.
Personality.
Yeah.
You have to have the personality every day. Like, you don't think Ninja has days where he's like, I feel like fucking shit.
Right.
I hate the fucking world right now.
Exactly.
But he's
still on there dancing for people and shit. Like, you know, it's like.
But then again, he may be like, man, I love, like, when you get into it, you're like, I love this.
Right.
Like, this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I'm happy about.
And that's what Tanel told me. He's like, when he's like, because he's going to play video games no matter what. So why not?
Why not try and make some money
exactly.
off of it?
And he's like, dude, when I, like, turn my stream off after, like, he did a 24-hour stream one time, but he's like, when I turn my stream off afterwards, it's like, wow, I just did that. Like, I didn't even feel like I was working. It just felt like I was, like, hanging out with everybody who's watching me.
You're doing what you were going to do anyway.
Exactly. So, like, there's just a lot of different avenues for people nowadays to make money, social media-wise, streaming-wise. Like, I don't even know what else. Just social media in general has opened a lot of avenues for people to sell their own merch, like goods, fucking anything.
It's nice. Social media is a good and bad thing.
Or being a consultant. Like, maybe you've never owned a business, but maybe you're a business consultant that has studied a lot of businesses, what's made them successful, and then people pay you for your time. Like, a lot
honestly,
of different
like,
avenues.
I will say, though, like, yes and no, but like that, like, the business consultants that are like, you know what? I ran a business into the fucking ground. And then I turned my next business into a multi-million-dollar thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, they've been through both sides.
True.
They know the mistakes. They know the things they've done wrong. As a business consultant, if you study businesses, you've seen both sides.
Mhm.
So you've seen the good, you've seen the bad, you see the things that do work, that don't work. So yeah, I agree. Like there's so many other avenues out there that if you don't want to go to college, you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to own a business, you don't need to go to college. You know what you need to do? You need to find a damn good mentor
Mm-hmm.
or 3. Like mentors are huge.
Yeah.
Find someone, even if it's someone you just follow on social media. I'm not saying you have to be in contact. Don't get me wrong. I think you need somebody that you can be in contact with and bounce like ideas, questions, and stuff like that off of. But, dude, mentors are the biggest thing that have got me to where I'm at today, whether in every aspect of life. So I think if you don't want to go to college, find mentors ASAP
Yep.
and learn how to talk to people. That's the big. I don't care what profession you're in. You need to know how to talk to people. That is one of the things that I'm most appreciative of college was my entrepreneurship class, being able to just learn how to talk. We had guests come in every class. It was literally like a podcast for a class, which I should talk to him about that. That'd be a fucking cool ass podcast where he just has entrepreneurs, business owners come in and talk to the class about what they've done, and then at the end it's an open Q&A. The class can ask questions about anything, and it was the best class I had in college.
Because you're learning real experiences from real people.
It was real. It wasn't from a textbook.
Mm-hmm.
There was no textbooks required. We had to buy like one book that we had to read, and it was like a business entrepreneurship book. I'm fine with that. It's a good book to read, but like at the same time, it was real learning. Like you got to actually talk to people and really learn from them. So that was my favorite class in college. But
ultimately, sum it up, I don't think college is a scam. I think it's worth it, but money-wise, you just got to actually know what you're getting yourself into.
make a smart ROI.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big thing. But it's so hard because, too, like, yeah, it'd be cheaper for me to go to OSU Newark. Would I get the same education? Would I get the same results?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. You might get the same education, but you wouldn't get the same life experiences that you did in college, you know? But
Yeah, I agree. But that's beyond the surface. Number one. Got some good stuff in the books for that one.
Yeah.
I think that one went really well. We can dive into that's the thing. We didn't even dive into all the topics that we originally talked about. We just kind of bounced it. That's how me and you are, though. It's just like, all right, we'll start rolling with one and see where it goes.
Yeah, no, I think, and again, ultimate goal of this is just to be a little bit vulnerable, dive into some topics that maybe you don't want to talk about every day. Maybe you just want to hear what we think about them and just like pick our brains on it. But more
That's
topics
the nice
to come.
part is we're not the only ones thinking about it.
No, exactly. There's just some people who don't want to talk about it, so
Yeah.
we'll talk about it.
It's like Relay F.
Yeah.
Andy Frisella.
Yeah.
But we're going to be fucking real.
Hell yeah.
We're going to tell it like it is. And we may not always agree, and that's what I love about it.
Yes, sir.
I love that me and you can also sit here and not agree on something. And guess what? It doesn't change our friendship.
No, it shouldn't, dude. Like that. Like, dude, you're not going to agree on every single... If you agree on every single thing with every single person you ever meet in your life, they're bullshitting you, bro.
But I guarantee you, if I was best friends with myself, I'd still disagree with some shit he said.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Just out of spite, be like, fuck you. No, I don't believe
believe
fuck you.
Is water wet? No. No.
Hey, do you know water is level?
Is it?
Water is always level.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is.
That's what... Try telling a pool person that.
Oh, is it not in your
No,
world?
it is.
Oh,
It's
okay.
always level. Water will always balance itself level.
Okay.
People...
But the structure might not be level.
Exactly.
Or the, okay.
That's where people we're like, that pool ain't level. Like, if we go to one that we didn't do.
Dang.
And they're like, what do you mean? Like, no, the water's just off. And it's like, that's not how it works. Like, water is always going to sit level.
Hey, maybe take this as the one lesson of today's Beyond the Surface is humans are always level, but sometimes the outside noise and outside structures make them unlevel. Do not let the outside bullshit fuck with your levelness.
And with that, that's a wrap on this episode. Until next time, you guys know the deal. Life is hard. and it's going to knock you down just like a bull does to a bull rider. Don't let that bull of life walk all over you. Get up, grab the bull by the horns, and take control of your life. Roughnecks, out.